Shalom, shalom, shalom. It's your boy New Breed. As you enter the chat, make sure you hit the thumbs up on the way in. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a real social dilemma at hand. The people have become sheep. Mindless drones, if you will. And sometimes we just gotta be realistic. Sometimes the truth is not ideal, but nonetheless, it's the truth. I had somebody inbox me earlier. They was like, Breed, maybe you should consider spreading a more positive message. As if the truth won't set us free. You know? Sometimes warnings are needed. Thanks for becoming a member of the Chosen Ones. Y'all make sure y'all thumb this video up because, hey, this is going to be some of the realest content on this platform. Other people will become one with the Matrix. They'll become one with the Matrix. Now, there's a lot going on in the world. I'm going to need some of y'all to use astute observations while viewing this particular video because you're going to have to read in between the lines. There's a few terminologies that I'm going to throw out. There's going to be a few organizations that I would like you all to research because the Bible tells us to study to show ourselves approved, right? It says study to show yourself approved. So there's a couple of words I'm going to throw out there, and I want y'all to do your due diligence in your research. DARPA. D-A-R-P-A. DARPA. Let's throw that one out there. We're going to throw that word out there. We're going to throw the word Lucifer race out there. That's Lucifer with race at the end of it. R-A-S-E. Right? Do your research. I want you to do your research on something called nanotechnology. Nanotechnology. Yeah, the same nanotechnology of the movie Bloodsport with Vin Diesel. I believe it's Bloodshot, pardon me. Bloodshot with Vin Diesel. Now, I want you to do your research on these things. And I also want you to look up Digital Angel. I want you to look up RFID technology. And I want you to put on your thinking caps. And I want you to pay attention to society. And I want you to pay attention to what's going on in the world as we speak. People have been given a choice to make. They've been given options. In New York City, there's a inordinate amount of businesses that have decided to implement certain changes, right? And these changes are requiring people to make a decision, whether or not they would like to remain gainfully employed or just employed in general, or would they lose their jobs because of a decision that should be covered under doctor-patient confidentiality. So doctor-patient confidentiality is no longer existing. It's no longer existing because now companies that people work at have access to your personal medical decisions, right? So this choice that's given is requiring a lot of people to, or causing a lot of people to basically become one with the system. And I mean, when I say the system, I mean these companies, these businesses, these organizations that they work for. Let's make that clear. So, similar to what the Bible tells us about the mark of the beast written of in the book of Revelations, where people will have a choice whether or not to receive this mark in order to buy or sell. It seems to be happening. Now, I'm going to tell you, the chosen, God's people, the Most High's people, those who can see. The only thing that's going to happen with God's people is that they're going to become more stoic. They're going to be able to handle a significant amount of persecution. The truth, to a degree, has already been outlawed. And the reality of the situation is that we need to make a choice in life, either to serve the Most High God or serve the God of this world, who only has this world for a certain amount of time, right? Now, let's see. Somebody said, thank you, New Breed. I love your message. Pretty late. And I'm not going to go live real. I think a lot of people need to hear this message. Now, let me put this out here. If you're an individual who has to make that critical decision between your job and making this medical decision, right? I'm going to tell you right now, you better make the right choice. You better make the right decision. I'm not here to tell you what that decision is, but what I will tell you is this. We're living in some very uncertain times, similar to the times that the prophets of old lived in. Nothing was promised, nothing was guaranteed. They often operated on faith.
This is what you're about to see. First of all, what you're about to see is going on in you right now, everywhere in you. We're going to let you look briefly at a cell made by the chemistry department at Harvard University, which was getting a little worried they wasn't getting chemistry majors. So they thought maybe they should do something jazzy. So they know that textbooks in chemistry, the chemistry always looks like circles and very boring. So they said, let's just actually make it like it is.
So this is basically what's going on in your cells right now. These are different fibers assembling, disassembling the cells.
What is this?
This is a molecular machine that walks around in your cells right now. It's called a kinesin and transports things. So for example, when things want to move around your cells, they don't just float around randomly. They actually actively moved around with little machines, little robots, nanobots that power your cells. What you see here is actually an amazing machine coming out of these little pores, which actually assembles other machines. This is like the factory floor of your cells. It's called a ribosome. It reads your RNA. RNA is, comes from the DNA, it's translated into RNA, and then it basically gets read out by these ribosomes, and they make new machines which then do other things. So there's all kinds of machines in your cells, things that rotate, things that walk, things that make other machines, things that read RNA, things that copy DNA, that open,
Let's look at this again while we talk about it. Can we look at it a second time? First of all, how fast is this in real life? All these things going on.
Oh, some of those things can happen quite fast, some kind of slow. And that's actually an interesting thing of a nanoscale. You can create all kinds of time scales depending on how many pieces have to act together. Some things can happen
little guy
in nanoseconds, some in milliseconds, some in microseconds. They're actually... they make steps in the kind of millisecond range, I would say.
In the what?
Like milliseconds, or thousandths of a second. And we a little bit.
So you can have this.
So it's actually faster than that. It's much faster than that. So they made it kind of looking.
So this is a garbage man. That big sack is just cell garbage, and he's going to take it up this tube, or it is going to take it up.
Yeah, there are some machines that walk from the inside of the cell to the outside of the cell to kick garbage out, and others that go from the outside of the cell to the inside cell to bring the good stuff in. So they're specialized machines. They only walk in certain directions.
Is this, what about the color? That's pretend, right?
Yeah, that's
This is a copier?
yeah, that's a copy, and that little wormy thing coming out is a new protein coming out, and here's a new protein has formed.
Victoria Nudell
and Omar Romero, and we produced this video under the guidance of Dr. Susan Cohen and Dr. Susan Golden at UC San Diego, utilized to study various biological responses, such as circadian rhythms in many organisms.
Lucif, also referred to as GFP.
We will first explain the basics of molecular genetics. The genetic information of an organism is stored in the genome, which is made up of DNA molecules. Code for proteins, which perform various physiological functions and give structure to cells and tissues. DNA. The next step is translation, where the mRNA is converted to a sequence of amino acids, resulting in a protein product.
Luciferases are proteins that catalyze a reaction to produce light using a substrate called luciferin. You may have cells that catalyze a reaction to produce light using a substrate called luciferin. You may have seen bioluminescence in nature. For example, in the light emitted from fireflies, as well as bioluminescent waves created by microorganisms found in the ocean. The amount of light emitted can easily be detected and quantified.
The production of mRNA from a gene is controlled by a promoter sequence located upstream of the gene. To measure the activity of the promoter that drives transcription of the gene of interest, in this case PER2, we can express luciferase under the control of the PER2 promoter so that the product will be a light-emitting enzyme. Luciferase is expressed at the same time that the gene of interest would normally be expressed from that promoter. This is called a transcriptional fusion because the luciferase gene is transcribed at the same time as the gene of interest.
The next step to the genome, the luciferase gene is transcribed to produce its corresponding messenger RNA. Genome, the luciferase gene is transcribed to produce its corresponding messenger RNA. Genome, the luciferase gene is transcribed to produce its corresponding messenger RNA. This mRNA is translated into an active luciferase protein, which when provided with its substrate luciferin can then catalyze a reaction with oxygen to produce light. With its substrate luciferin can then catalyze a reaction with oxygen to produce light. Provided with its substrate luciferin can then catalyze a reaction with oxygen to produce light.
Or just decisions based on be traveling the 7 seas, or just decisions based on moving from one city to the next. They always had faith. Based on moving from one city to the next. They always had faith, even through uncertainty. Now you can take that information and do what you would like to do with it. But as so-called Christians and followers of the faith, you cannot show a form of godliness and then turn around and deny the power thereof. You cannot say that you have faith in the Lord to be your provider, and at the same time, put your faith in the matrix. Now, I'm not here to tell you if it's going to take 1 time to make the wrong decision, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, or even 10 times. But I can assure you, if you continue to make the wrong decision, you will become one with this matrix. We're talking about a soulless generation. We're talking about a soulless generation. We're talking about a generation that has become one with the technology. We're talking about transhumanism. And if you think it's too far-fetched, you need to be paying attention to how close and how attached people are to these cellular devices. You need to be paying attention to how many people are attached to their smart cars, their smart homes, their smartphones, and everything else. If you think it's out of the question for humans to plug into that matrix, we're talking about transhumanism. Now, I'm gonna say some things in this video that's gonna probably be rather shocking to some. If you're looking at society right now, and you looking at it from a realistic standpoint. We're not talking about a happy-go-lucky, everything is going to be all right type of standpoint. Now, for the chosen, we grow more stoic, we grow more wise, and we're protected by our God. But for those who don't want to follow the biblical truth of the Creator and honor His law, statutes, and commandments, I'm going to be honest with you. Your future looks bleak. It looks very bleak. If you're making the wrong decisions to follow the wrong God, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to get real. It's going to get real ugly. All right? And I'm just being honest. And I want you to watch this video and say, hey, I got to make the right decision. Now, at the rate that morality is declining, I would not be surprised in the next, let's say, 10 years from now.
I gotta say, be careful with some of those laws, because those laws were tampered with too. Some of the laws, a real good portion of them, to be honest. I showed back to back videos on this. Plenty of folks have seen it.
My predictions are that you're going to be driving down the street and you're going to see bodies on the streets. Yeah, bodies. In the next 10 years from now, at the decline of morality, living in the confines of the United States, you're talking about a third world country. You're talking about everything is going to look pretty much post-apocalyptic, and that's just reality. Now, let me make sure I acknowledge you brothers and sisters who are contributing to this work. Tribe of Levi, thank you for the $20 contribution. Says the Most High bless that, but I'm from the tribe of Judah. Thank you for the $5 contribution. Says excited and have been able to build my spirit up. Besides just working, your videos have enlightened me so. Absolutely, I appreciate it. Our best bet, as brothers and sisters who can see and the veil has been lifted, our best bet is to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. It's to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Well done this.
The mark of the beast is coming. What you're looking at right now going on in the world is a prerequisite, a conditioning, a chipping away, an acclimation period. Also, it's a grace period for those who have not relied on the Most High for thy daily bread. See, when the Lord prayed, he said, Father, give us this day thy daily bread.
Whoa. When the prophets prayed, we said that, not some man. Sorry about that.
Ways. I'm not sure where you getting at with that. I guess you giving a reverence to the Matrix, right? Well, speaking of bending spoons, apparently there's videos flying around of people becoming magnetic. They're literally turning into Magneto. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if y'all have seen these videos, but yeah. You know, people got silverware flying at their faces. They don't get no more Matrix than that, right? People got refrigerator magnets sticking to their foreheads and their faces. I don't know if y'all seen these videos, but for whatever reason, it seems as if the internet have scrubbed. Totally scrubbed those videos. Now, when y'all woke up from this Matrix, right, a few things happen. You begin to lose interest in everything that you once were interested in. You became a lot more withdrawn. You became more introspective, self-reflective. You begin to think a lot more. A lot of us begin to internalize a lot of things because we didn't feel safe presenting certain information to other people. When we woke up from the Matrix, I don't think we quite realized how deep the rabbit hole went.